Thousands of people queued at a jobs fair in Norwich today to try to get work. A variety of employers were offering both permanent and seasonal positions, but the numbers didn't add up. There were only 300 vacancies available.
I'm not after anything in particular, just any sort of job really.
I've been out of full-time work for 2 years.
I've recently graduated, but I can't find any work.
Looking for retail work.
Stretching round the corner into the street, these hopefuls heard there were jobs going, so they didn't hang around.
Miss the companies that are here today. I want a permanent job. I want to get back in, ideally, into administration.
I finished a course in June, but all through that course I've been looking for a job, but no hope.
We've got a course starting on the 6th of October, right?
20 employers, from Argos to Poundland to Virgin Wines, set up their stalls and saw a steady stream of potential workers.
Do you have a CV? Fantastic.
The vacancies are mainly in retail and hospitality, both for Christmas and the longer term.
Even seasonal work can offer a good entry on your CV and can give you an opportunity to get a job reference to offer to a new employer, so well worth doing.
I've put CVs into companies and I've got some application forms to fill out and just waiting to hear.
This one's for Poundland, for seasonal work, actually for the run-up to Christmas. I've got a few others to fill in as well.
After the form filling, there might be an interview. One job hunter was interviewed on the spot. They start work tomorrow. John Halford, BBC Look East, Norwich.
A specialist rescue team from Essex has been in Holland, taking part in an exercise to test their response to a North Sea tidal surge. The last emergency on the east coast was in November 2007, when many defences came close to being overwhelmed.
It's a natural phenomenon. We work with the Met Office. We get all the meteorological data, and we've got a storm model now that predicts these things. The surge event is well understood. It's something that we can track many, many hours before it actually happens, so we can let people know in advance.
The region's manufacturing base has received a boost. An Indian firm has invested £10 million in a new factory in Mildenhall. But as the recession bites, it's getting harder to attract foreign investors.
In a recession, an economy needs all the medication it can get. Luckily for Suffolk, an Indian company has stepped in with a dose of foreign investment, developing a manufacturing plant in Mildenhall.
We've already spent some 10 million. Within the next 2 years, we'll be spending approximately another 3 million. Our current workforce is 30, and within the next 2 years, we'll increase that workforce to approximately 100 people.
Nestor UK's factory produces aspirin, paracetamol and a host of other drugs, all made from scratch on site. But attracting overseas investments like this is getting harder in the credit crunch.
Foreign investment in the East is declining from 119 projects 3 years ago to 105 last year, and that means fewer new jobs.
There is a decline in investment from traditional markets such as the US, Germany, Japan, but that is being compensated by an increase in inquiries and investment from countries such as India and China. What we have to do as a region is make sure that we capture those smaller, fast-growing, technology-driven companies or pharmaceutical companies as we are here today, who, whilst they might not put in as big investment initially, do have the potential for significant growth.
The East still has a pool of 2,500 overseas companies, but capturing firms like Germany's Palm Paper, which has just invested £400 million in a paper mill in King's Lynn, will be much harder in the future. Richard Bond, BBC Look East.
The police are examining CCTV footage after a clash between Norwich City and Charlton players at Carrow Road. The Football Association is also investigating. Trouble broke out between the teams in the tunnel at half-time last Saturday. The FA says it's deciding whether to take further action. Essex's chance of securing promotion to Division 1 of cricket's county championship are fading. Although they took Derbyshire's last 7 wickets for 74, the home side still finished on 474 thanks to 222 from skipper Chris Rogers. Essex closed on 166 for 2 in reply, still needing 159 to avoid the follow-on. Now, here's a great story. 30 years ago, a young college lecturer was offered the use of a small factory unit after winning a local business competition. Now, Larry Rowe's company has a turnover of £14 million a year.
The demand for the 70s mullet and tank top may fade, but not the need for computer technology. And Larry Rowe knew it when he walked into his first factory in Norwich.
My goodness, isn't it enormous?
Understandable enthusiasm when you think this is where it all started, his garden workshop. But don't be deceived by today's small-scale production. The company exports educational software and hardware to colleges and companies in 60 countries.
This is a hydraulics trainer. Students will build their hydraulic circuit on screen, as I'm doing now, and then they'll test their system. In this particular case, you can see the pistons forcing its way up.
Students can learn about car ignition systems and how factory robots work before working on the real thing. LJ Create now has 150 staff here and in America, and these are some of the brains behind the technology. Research and development is crucial.
The rule of three for me is you've got to have good ideas and you've got to keep coming up with new ones. You've got to have good staff and you've got to be able to keep them, and you've got to have good luck.
Of the 6 original staff taken on 30 years ago, 5, like Linda, are still here.
It's grown considerably since the first year I joined the company. Basically, the work is very similar to when I started.
Most business is now to be found in developing countries, but Larry Rowe is adamant that Norfolk is where the firm and its family will stay. And Jammie Gadgill for BBC Look East in Norwich.
Challenge, the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race. It's over 35,000 miles and takes the best part of a year to complete. One of the skippers is Matt Pike from Ipswich.
The crew are having a frustrating start to race 2 and Rio seems very far away. Our reporter Alison Harper is on board for the transatlantic crossing.
Trying to make the most of the light winds and trying to catch up with the fleet, the Bay of Biscay is posing problems for Edinburgh. Then a morale boost, spotting a competing yacht on the horizon.
Yeah, it's particularly good to see them out towards our starboard side, because that's north and we're going south, so we know that in terms of our course we're steering a faster course to Finisterre Point.
Edinburgh is skippered by Matt Pike from Ipswich. It's early days and he knows that race positions could change in a matter of hours.
The whole fleet isn't spread out very far, so we're just a few miles behind. Everything to play for. Actually, from my point of view, it's quite a good tactic. It keeps people really motivated, really driven, constantly finding out where the other boats are going, what they're doing, where they've gone.
But while making progress, just what the crew didn't need. Snapped kit, the spinnakers in the water losing valuable time and effort, but the crew has to deal with it and be thankful there's no permanent damage. Back sailing again, and Edinburgh may be behind, but it is only 200 miles into a 4,800-mile race. Alison Harper, BBC Look East in the Bay of Biscay.
Now, the region's biggest